Hi, and welcome to a quick Camtasia tutorial. My name's Jesse, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through a really quick tutorial for how to edit any videos or any recordings that you may have made in the recording studio or outside of that. So we're going to use Camtasia today. The first thing we want to do is go ahead and import the media. Going to go ahead and click the green button. Once that happens, you're going to go ahead and find your media file. All right, luckily for mine popped right up and it's group 4, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. We do want to go ahead and hit continue. The only reason why this is popping up is because I do have this file on an external hard drive, and it does prefer the files to be on your hard drive. So we're going to go ahead and hit continue. All right, now as you can see, we have the video right up here. The next thing we want to do is click and drag that over to the first track. All right. And you can do it all the way to the front, or you can just leave it a little bit out. We're not going to worry about that too much right now. I'll show you how to move that or how to make any changes with that later. So just going to go ahead and click and drag, leave that right there. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to audio effects. All right. First, we want to do a noise removal. And that's going to take care of any of the kind of white noise that you have in the background. The next thing we want to do is volume leveling. Now, this is going to be really important because for this specific video, we only had a lapel mic, so there are multiple people speaking, and there are it might be a little bit further away, so I do want to raise the volume as much as possible. So as you can see, once we did that, we had a green line pop up right on that track. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and click and then drag that all the way up. And as you can see on the left hand side, we have 418% and now 500%. So we're going to go ahead and leave that. We do want to raise it. That's as high as it'll go. So we want to raise it all the way up to the top. Now we have a higher volume whenever that plays. And really quickly, once you do that, something I do like to do as well is to do a fade in and a fade out. I wanted this to be quick, so I'm not going to do all of that right now, but you can. It is available to do. All right, so once we do that, we do want to go ahead and hit visual effects now. So we've taken care of the audio. Now we want to go into visual effects. All right, and then we want to go ahead and click and drag color adjustment into the same track. All right, so once we've added that, on the right-hand side, we do have a few options. Now, in order to see our actual video, we are going to have to take this cursor right here on the bottom left-hand side and run that right over. Now, before this turned black and white, it was in the regular color. But because we added the color adjustment, that's why it's this color. And we will fix that. That's what we're going to do right now. So the first thing we want to do, though, is go ahead and transpose this image. This image is backwards to us, but what we want to do is go ahead and enter 180, so that's 180 degrees, and hit enter. All right, so now you can see that the board is actually flipped and we can see it correctly. The next thing we want to do is go ahead and color adjust our video. Now, the main reason why we would do this is for this specific instance, for a light board recording, the background is all black, but there could be a few reflections and a few things that we want to get rid of. So there are 3 numbers that I kind of roll by, and it's 11 for brightness. Okay, for contrast, we want to do 60. And then for saturation, we want to do 5. All right, so now you can see that there is some color back into our image. The only thing, with this, you can mess around with it. It will probably take you a little bit because, it really, until you get your perfect image, that's when you'll stop. So you could just kind of start with these numbers and then go from there. But I'm going to go ahead and leave those numbers. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to go up here to these little menu items, and we want to click the icon that's crop. So we're going to go ahead and click that. All right, and as you can see, there are a lot of other things going on in this image, so we do want to focus in on just the light board. So I'm going to go ahead and crop this image as much as I can. All right, grab in the left. And I do try and get the people recording in the studio to not write as far out to the edges so that I can crop that out as much as possible. All right, that might be as good as it gets. Yeah. All right, so as you can see now that I clicked off of it, it kind of looks like it's floating in space. All right, so some of this stuff does look a little blurry, and unfortunately, that's more of the camera and the fact that this is a neon light board, and sometimes the writing is just the focus is a little off. So that's not something that we can necessarily fix here, um, but if they do know what's being written or they're speaking about it, then it makes it a little bit easier. Anyway, the next thing is we're gonna go ahead and let's see here and click transitions. So with transitions, something that I like to do is a fade in and fade out for the images as well. But before we can do all of that, we actually have to listen to the video so that we can cut any unwanted audio. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit play and see how long it takes until he starts talking. All right, so as you can see, it took a little bit of longer time for him to start talking. Something we can do, it is a little bit harder to see right now, but if you hit this plus sign right up here, it'll magnify that track and you can see, and it's a little bit easier to actually cut off and crop this track. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that maybe one more time. There we go. All right, so now it's a little bit easier to see. And what we can do is we can also kind of see right down here where it's kind of flat and then you start getting peaks, which means that that's probably exactly where he started talking. So I'm going to go ahead and click and make sure that my cursor is about right there. It's a little bit right before he starts talking. So I'm going to go ahead and actually go up to this cursor again, and I'm going to right click it, making sure that the actual track is highlighted. So if your track has a yellow line around it, that means that it is highlighted. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit split selected. And now, as you can tell, you have two different bubbles on one track. All right, so we have this first part right here, which is all of the part where he wasn't speaking, and then the part where he starts speaking. So we're going to go ahead and actually right-click that and delete that because we don't actually need that anymore. All right, so the next part, we're going to go ahead and run through this, and we can actually move this over a little bit and keep moving. Right. And then you do want to listen because sometimes the audio might not be that well, but the audio should be great on this part. Yep, she sounds great. All right, and then we want to wait to the next person. Let's see how they sound. Perfect. Yep. All right, so next thing is we want to go ahead and push it over all the way to almost the end. All right, last few seconds. And we just want to listen to see how and when they finish. Summarize the proposal and then come to an agreement and resolve the conflict. And I hope you've learned a lot about interpersonal conflict today, and thank you. All right, that was perfect. So she does keep a little bit after that. So what we want to do is she kind of stops right about here. All right. So we do want to do a fade through black, so I'll go ahead and add that. Okay, and then let's see here. This we can actually pull out just a little bit, and now if you notice, I'm gonna go ahead push back a little bit, a few more seconds, and actually play that again so that you can see the adjustments that we've made. And resolve the conflict. And I hope you've learned a lot about interpersonal conflict today, and thank you. All right. So as you can see, as soon as she said thank you, it was going out. It was fading out to black. And now we want to do the same thing for the front. We'll fade into the actual image though this time instead of black. Okay. So, and then we can see what we did here. Go ahead and click play. All right, and that you can actually really tell on that part because the resolution, not the resolution, the timing is a little off. Here we go. All right, so there we go. So it actually faded from black into the image. All right, so now we pretty much have everything that we need done to this actual media track, right? So another thing that I like to do is start with an actual title. So what I do is I go to annotations, and then I go to the big ABC. There are two. It should be under callouts, and then the style is basic. There are two ABCs, or a few of them, but just the lettering. You can choose whichever one you'd like. This is the one I usually go with. Gonna go ahead and click that and add that. All right, so now there are a few things that we can do. We want to make sure, first of all, that they are not overlapping. Okay, so we want to go ahead and push that out just a little bit and make sure that they're not overlapping. And then we want to go ahead and click on the actual letters, right? We want to go back, make sure, actually, this is really important. Go back to the cursor, and that's going to go to edit mode. Then you want to double click that and type in the title of your project. So for me, it's going to be group 4. All right, you can edit this. As you can tell now that we're actually typing in here, we have the option to change the font, to change the size, to change the color, etc., etc. All right, so this I'm gonna go ahead and pull out just a little bit, and then you do have guidelines, so they'll show you exactly where the center is, or if you want to push it up a little bit more to the left, etc., etc. Anyway, so another thing that we can do here is we can add the transitions, just like we did to the main video. So we'll go ahead and start fading into it and then fading out. All right, so up to this point, we are completely done with editing. I believe that I am good to go, but what I want to do is I want to go ahead and do a quick little preview, and I can do maybe like about 10-15 seconds just to make sure that it's all looking well. All right, so go ahead and play that. Perfect. So now we have a smooth transition from the intro tile to the intro of the actual video. And I believe that I'm good to go. I went ahead and went through most of the video. I feel that the audio is great. The ending for me is great. There's a seamless transition. Now the last thing to do is to actually share it. And by sharing, I mean creating an MP4 audio file, video file of what we've actually created already. So we want to go ahead and do share, and then local file. Custom production settings is fine. Gonna go ahead and hit next, and it should be already on the MP4 Smart Player, right? Right. Gonna go ahead and hit next. And then you shouldn't touch any of that stuff. That's all fine. Then go ahead and hit next. We want to hit next one more time. All right. And now this is where you want to name your file. Okay. So for me, this is group 4. Okay. And then we want to go ahead and choose where this MP4 file will be residing in. So for me, it's going to be right here. I've already been working in this file, so it already opened up the folder, already have my group name on there. Then go ahead and hit save. Okay, yep, the same thing happening with the external hard drive. Go ahead and hit continue. All right, and then we want to hit finish. All right, once we hit finish, this video will render. It will have already saved your MP4 to the file selection where we just chose. And then from there, you can upload to YouTube, you can upload to Canvas, you can upload to wherever you want, because now you have the raw file where you can, where you have already edited all of your images and all of your audio for. All right. Thank you very much for listening.